Apparently, you cannot make a joke in the NBA anymore on NBA media. Because in my last video, I jokingly compared Julius Randle and Jason Tatum to each other as a joke, and people thought I was being serious. Jason Tatum and Julius Randle are nowhere near each other's level. Jason Tatum is miles ahead of them. So if you thought I meant to say that Julius Randle and him are on the same level by any stretch of the imagination, that is not at all what I was saying. I was clearly making a joke, and I'm sorry you took it seriously. Now for what this video actually is, I got my notes for Game 4 in my hand. Let's get into the post-game thoughts of Jhoopa. After the way the Mavericks started Game 3, Boston was emphatic on the defensive end to not let that repeat itself. As a result of that, the Mavericks started turning the ball over early in the game, and were not able to build the lead right out the gate like they did in Game 3. Luka Doncic was able to have an energetic spark early, as we've grown accustomed to seeing after losses. This spark came from getting to the paint at will, along with playing his first few minutes of defense this series. Unfortunately for Luka, his three ball was not going early, and it was a carryover from Game 3, where he struggled as he was 1 of 7. Lucky for us as NBA fans though, he was not arguing as much this game, which was a great sign to start the game, and it did carry on. This was the quietest I ever seen Luka. No animations, no nothing. I was really proud. Even though Luka wasn't crying, I still remained to be pissed off because PJ Washington kept having the worst turnovers I have ever seen on a basketball court in the first quarter, and it carried into the second quarter. His turnovers were terrible, so I guess it's a trade-off. As I was getting ready to type something about Jason Tatum as a screener for the Celtics rather than an on-ball creator, Derek Lively decided to hit a three, and yeah, that was crazy. But anyways, Jason Tatum was able to get his mismatches that he needed by setting off-ball screens for his teammates and getting the switch he wanted in the paint, and that is what I want to see from Tatum more often, because that's the most successful way for him to score and establish a rhythm. I was impressed with Tatum's start, likewise to Luka's. The deciding play at the end of the first quarter for me was when Luka Doncic got a steal from Jrue Holiday and then emphatically scored in the paint on a one-man fast break. And that was just telling enough for me what we were going to see from Luka tonight. And with what Kyrie was doing, I thought we were in for an electric game, because you also factor in how good Tatum looked early. Hey, the three best players in the series looked really, really good. So I thought it was going to be a good game. To open the second quarter, however, Jason Tatum had a rough start and the Boston Celtics had a rough start as a team. The easy paint scoring was not there for Tatum at all as it was in the first. Jaylen Brown had not shown up, and the Boston Celtics offense was just way too stagnant, and they couldn't do anything, while the Mavericks defense finally locked in and their offense wasn't missing for the first time all series. A really telling sign of Boston's struggles to score was actually Dallas's newfound ability to cut off the straight line penetration, which they hadn't been able to do all series. And it really showed as Dallas gave Boston a taste of their own medicine. It didn't help Boston when Dante Exum was having a legacy game in the first half either. The story for the remainder of the first half was simply the intensity of Dallas on defense, eliminating straight line penetration, and Boston's inability to hit threes. We saw a complete role reversal considering what we have seen so far this series. If the first half wasn't bad enough for the Celtics, the foul trouble started creeping in on the very first possession of the second half. Horford got his third foul, Tatum got his fourth quick, and Brown had 3. This foul trouble issue was actually a Daniel Gafford issue, as he was outworking everyone to start the second half. Gafford was actually doing that on both ends as he blocked just about every shot thrown up to add to everything he was doing on offense. The overall intensity of Dallas on both ends was too much for Boston tonight, and they couldn't handle it, and that carried over in the third quarter, and that is basically how the game ended, because by the end of the third quarter, Joe Mazzulla took all the starters out, and yeah, there's not much else to say. The threes never flowed for Boston, and the Mavs role players started to get better and better. Obviously, it wasn't the best game we've seen all postseason by the Boston Celtics. It was actually probably the worst game we've seen, but there are a few things I want to point out. There's not much to talk about, but I do have 4 things. Jaylen Brown was awful tonight. Jason Tatum should be the front-runner favorite for Finals MVP after tonight. Jaylen Brown was abysmal. Jason Tatum was amazing, considering everything. Now, it wasn't the greatest game of the series for Tatum, but he was the best player on the Celtics, evidently. And then I got 3 questions. My 3 questions before we check the box score. Can Dallas's role players do it again? I think they can. They got a rhythm now. The few weeks off kind of hurt their rhythm, I think. Now they got a rhythm, and they can definitely do it again. Will they do it again? I don't know. Will the defense travel to Boston? That's the biggest question, because Dallas's defense was amazing tonight. If it doesn't travel, they're not going to beat Boston in Boston for Game 5. But if it does travel, they got a good chance, since they do have the two best offensive players in the series. And the final question is, will Boston get offensive rhythm back? They have struggled at home in the postseason. They are a streaky team, but, you know, they're the Boston Celtics. They're a super team. Who knows? Porzingis might play Game 5, so we'll definitely see. But yeah, let's check the box score, and I'll send you all on your way. And we'll check the box score at 11:20 p.m. on June 14th. Jason Tatum, 15 points, 4 of 10 shooting from the floor. I mean, I could roast him, but after last video, I don't think it's right to roast Jason Tatum, because anything I need to say about Jason Tatum, you can just find in that video, because I kind of ran it on Jason Tatum. I'm going to give him a break for today, because the player I need to roast today is Jaylen Brown. All right, Jaylen Brown, 3 of 12, 1 of 5 from 3, 10 points. Were you dressed as Where's Waldo tonight? Because I certainly could not find you. You didn't show up on defense. You had no defensive intensity. Where did that go? You've been the most intense defender all series long, all postseason for that matter. You were non-existent on the defensive end of the floor. Like, are you tired? Are you hurt? Like, it was a dreadful defensive performance, to say the least. But I hope you can bounce back. But Jason Tatum surpassed you in the Finals MVP odds, I believe. I just know that's going to happen. I don't even blame that for happening, because Jason Tatum did outperform you. This game was absolutely dreadful for Jaylen Brown. Jrue Holiday forgot how to dribble tonight. He kept dribbling off his foot. 5 turnovers. Yeah, that'll do it. 4 of 10, 2 of 4. What we got? Derek White. Derek White hasn't been great. Al Horford did what he could. He's not going to do much. Sam Hauser, 5 of 7 from the floor, 14 points. Pretty good game. Peyton Pritchard, 5 of 14. Peyton Pritchard took 14 shots in the finals game in 2024. Nice. For the Mavericks side of things, PJ Washington, maybe you got a rhythm now. 6 points, 2 made threes. If you can bring that to Boston, please do, because you definitely didn't do that in the first 3 games of the series. I think this is the first time he made multiple baskets in the series. Actually, that's a stretch. Multiple 3-point baskets in the series. But at least you're going to shoot as bad of 3-pointers as Luka and Kyrie. Luka and Kyrie combined for 1 of 14. Kyrie was 1 of 6. Luka was 0 of 8. You take away all their 3-pointers, they actually were scoring at will in the 2-point range, inside the free throw line. Inside the 3-point line. My fault. But they combined for 50 points. Obviously, good game. Luka Doncic, 12 of 26 and 0 of 8 from 3, though, really. That's the best we're doing in the finals. You couldn't make 1 3. Better not be allergic to the 3-pointer in Boston or for the rest of the series, because I'm expecting a Mavericks comeback. It kind of reminds me of what the Heat and Celtics had. Nice little role reversal after the first 3 games. I still think the Celtics are going to win the series, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Mavericks bring it all the way back to Boston for Game 7. But then again, the Boston Celtics are a super team. And super teams and the better teams always do their thing. They're not going to lose back-to-back games. So if Boston loses back-to-back games, then they're in trouble. If not, well, the series is over. And yeah, Tim Hardaway Jr. apparently hit 5 threes tonight. It was not when I was watching. I turned the game off after Joe Mazzulla emptied the bench, likewise to what most of y'all did. But apparently Tim Hardaway Jr. had 15 points, 5 of 7 from 3 on the floor. So yeah, good job. Can you do it when it matters now? Thank you. Derek Lively, 11 points, 12 rebounds, another double-double for him. Youngest player in finals history with a double-double. Now he's got back-to-back games with one. Congrats to him. He's definitely got back into his rhythm after the neck sprain injury. And yeah, not much else to say about the bench. I already talked about Dante Exum's legacy first half. And yeah, that's all I really got for y'all. Do y'all want to see how controversial my take was about Jason Tatum? Now, it was a joke, but I compared him and Julius Randle. So if you want to see that, click on the video on the screen, which was my Game 3 post-game thoughts of Jhoopa. So yeah, y'all go check that out. Stay safe. Bye.